All right, everyone, so sorry for the late start, but we'll get started here in just a second once John David finished passing out the bill packets. What? What? We're playing back. Are we? Oh, I have no idea. All right, everyone, the time is now 7:34, and this meeting will now come to order. Would anyone like to utilize open forum at this time? All right, seeing no one, we will now conduct a roll call. Roll call is on the Canvas course. All of you should have joined earlier today, so would you please get out your computers or your phones and go to the attendance quiz on Canvas to conduct roll call. All right, can everyone find it? We will now go into the approval of the minutes. The minutes were sent out electronically both last week and this morning. Are there any corrections that need to be made to the minutes? Seeing none, the minutes are now marked as approved and corrected. We will now go into our reports from our officers, beginning with our president.
Jake's report consists of two things. First is the Board of Trustees meeting this Friday.
I'm just trying to give you the mic. I don't know if
All right. There's a Board of Trustees meeting this Friday coming up. We'll keep you posted on anything that takes place there. And also, there's a change coming to printing that makes it easier to print from your mobile phones. Not a whole lot of updates on that, though. That is kind of a work in progress so far. As treasurer, no report.
Thank you, Jake. We'll now go into our report from our Executive Vice President of Cabinet Administration.
Hey, y'all. Auburn's up 26-9, by the way. Another thing is, as you may have noticed, the Miss Auburn nomination forms are out currently, and they are due the 17th. So I wanted to come up to y'all and have y'all nominate a girl in SGA that is enrolled in any colleges, especially in veterinary medicine, pharmacy, and nursing schools, who are currently in at least their third academic year, having completed 60 hours of coursework with at least 2 semesters and 24 of those hours being completed at Auburn University. I wanted to open up the floor for nominations from the SGA Senate, and if you are here, please indicate whether you accept or decline, and I will send out a poll in either tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon for the entire SGA to vote on. Ashley?
I nominate Julie Allen.
Accept? All right. Lucy?
I nominate Kara Herring. Kara's from Baltimore. Yeah. That's so awkward. Thanks. Appreciate it. I nominate Lucy Alford.
Lucy?
I nominate Madeline Dodd.
Anybody else? All right, so we have Julianne Lozano, Lucy Alford, and Madeline Dodd. Coleman?
That is so flattering,
All right, well, if it's just those three, we also have nominations from Cabinet, so I will be sending out a form for y'all to fill out to nominate your choice for SGA's nomination for Miss Auburn, and I will let y'all know the update on that. Thank y'all, and that's all I have. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Now we have our report from the Executive Vice President of Outreach.
Hope y'all are doing well today. For me, we have our first DEI boot camp in cabinet next Monday. So the DEI team will be leading a discussion with our cabinet branch. And then next Friday, we have our city breakfast meeting with the mayor. So any updates that y'all have about the city, please send those over to me so that we can talk about those in our meeting. But that's it for me.
Thank you. And lastly, we have our report from the Executive Vice President of Communications and Marketing.
Hey y'all, the Instagram did really well today because Coleman took over, so snaps for her, she did awesome. We think that probably had a lot of reason to do with the huge turnout at the open house. So as we can see with that, if we repost things and if we're tagging people and things, they work, so please continue to do that. And then lastly, SGA t-shirts have been ordered and should be here hopefully before Thanksgiving, and hopefully we can give those to y'all. But if not, they'll be here when y'all get back from Thanksgiving. As always, if you need anything, let me know. You know how to reach me, but if not, come find me after Senate and I'm happy to chat.
Thank you, Abby, and that concludes our reports from our officers. We now go into our reports from the colleges, beginning with at-large. At-large.
All at large, the report.
And now the report from the college of Akron.
Do you need the second one?
Davidson Agriculture. We went to Starkville this weekend, left on Thursday. That's pretty fun. Got to tour their facilities and everything, so it's kind of cool to see the ag school. Then we're hosting A&M's Ag Council this weekend, so kind of do the same thing, show them around. So hopefully that'll be a good time. And then on the 9th, we have the Alabama Agriculture Hall of Honor, so all of our inductees will be there to do this important. So that's good.
Thank you, Luker. Now the report from the College of Business.
Brown Business. Okay, so I'm going to pull what JD does and ask for y'all's feedback on where y'all think students would buy kombucha if it were on campus. I know it's at Heyday Market, but like any specific C stores or, you know? No. Do you have any feedback on that? Student Center C store? Does anyone else have anything else, or do y'all think that would be the best place? In Bronco? Okay. 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 So honestly, just everywhere is what I'm hearing. I'll bring all this back though. Okay, really? Okay. We might do a test run and then get back to that. Okay. Is that all? Oh. Haley Center? Okay.
Bottom floor.
Awesome. Thank y'all. So we have a water line resolution. Y'all saw it last week, but really just to explain a little bit more on that, it's really just an ask, and it just carries a lot more weight when all of Senate is saying that that would be something they'd be interested in supporting. So it doesn't mean it's necessarily going to happen. This is just to get a meeting going. So that's just a little bit more backstory in that. And then Pickett Reese updated me. He's the school council Senate liaison on what they talked about in business school council, and they're working on getting phone chargers and recre, and also figuring out ideas for the room in HHH, which is something we've been trying to figure out for a while. And I was talking with him, and we think the best thing would be to have like a microwave, a recre in there, and then like the Costa coffee machine that we were showing y'all. But also working with the business school council, if they want to do the pizza cart that we did last year, the SGA supported, but seeing if business would be, and engineering too, if they would want to do that for those specific schools, since most food will be in the edge or in the library. And they're going to get back to me on that, and then I'll bring that to dining. And I think that is all. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you. Now the report from the College of Architecture, Design, and Construction.
Smith, Cat C, no report.
Now the report from the College of Sciences and Mathematics.
Herring, COSAM. So we held a meeting with our schools council counterparts and our COSAM advisor to work on initiatives kind of finishing up the term, and we're working towards getting some more resources to COSAM students in popular buildings like the Science Center's labs and the ACLC, such as printers. That's been highly requested, so we'll have updates on that going forward.
Thank you. Now the report from the College of Education.
Williams, no report.
Now the report from the College of Engineering.
Rudolph Engineering, not much going on. 5 more weeks left of school. Everyone's trying to buckle down for finals. Getting a little bit quieter around Copel. Happy to have that. Couple things on our calendar coming up. Tomorrow we have the first generation college student celebration from 11 to 2 p.m. Very excited to have that. The Engineering Schools Council partnered with Beat Bama Food Drive. It's called Can Instruction. Great branding on that. And Engineering Spirit Week is coming up, November 29th through December 1st. Excited to take part in that as well. And the first event that we've had within the college, 100 Women Strong, partnered with our career development and our tutoring center. They had great turnout last week. They're tutoring kids in Cal 1 and 2. So we're happy to see those grades go up. That's all from us.
Thank you. Now the report from the College of Forestry, Wildlife, and Environment.
Martinez, Wildlife, no report.
Now the report from the College of Human Sciences.
Williams Human Sciences, no report.
College of Liberal Arts.
Borrego, no report.
And lastly, our report from the College of Nursing.
Leuven Nursing. So we had around 200 people interview these past couple weeks for nursing school for the next couple of cohorts, which is really exciting. And also, I've been working with the school's council. We're going to have a breakfast during finals week, which should be super fun. And also, I'll be in my scrubs at the A&M game because we have to do like hours for clinical. So if you see me, please come say hi. Thank you.
Thank you, and that concludes our reports from our colleges. We'll now go into the reports from the committees, beginning with academic affairs.
Dot at large. The timely grade implementation resolution is a current order tonight. Chloe will be passing accommodation for Dr. Blake Melnick through our committee this week. And finally, Gunner is looking into bringing the syllabus bank back to Auburn. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Next, we have the report from the Budget and Finance Committee.
Seward business, not much from us. We just have the green space lighting project coming through as a reserve fund request, so that's about it.
Now the report from the Code of Laws Committee.
Dickinson business. Stop. Not much for me. We'll be working on schools council. So basically, a lot of feedback has been gathered on changing the name from schools council to executive student council. So coming across the floor soon, we'll have an audit put together that'll just basically attack everything in the code. So like we can just change it all at one time. So that's pretty much all from me. If you have any questions, let me know. And as always, we meet every Friday at 12:15, conference room A in the involvement suite. So.
Thank you, Ashton. Now the report from the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee.
Lozano business. So we didn't have a committee meeting last week, so we'll be working on the rest of our projects coming up this week. And we got freshman forum mentees gave us feedback that there were some students that find that the student section at football games aren't very accessible to every student because of the lack of handrails and because of the uneven stairs. So we're going to look into that and see what we can do about that.
Thank you. Next, the report from the Student Affairs Committee.
Justin Engineering. To start off, we have 2 surveys coming out from our committee, one on the sauna and the rec, and another on housing. I'll make sure to post those in the group me. I would encourage y'all to push those out in your office hours or edge offices or anything like that. Next, thanks to Maddie, but now we know that MedClinic appointments are online. You go through the Follow My Health portal, and I would encourage y'all to really push that out because the MedClinic did ask for us to let the entire university know about that. Next, had a really great parking meeting today. A lot is on the table in terms of revamp, so please, when it comes to feedback, I'd love to hear more about it, whether it's scooters, whether it's signage, 320 crosswalk. Thank you to BSU. That feedback I was able to pull that in our meeting today. It was really beneficial. And then finally, basketball lines. Today I saw a tweet of the basketball line all the way out to Wire Road. So if you guys are going to games, I'd love your feedback. I'd love to see, how we could improve. And a score check, we are up 31-22 as of right now. Thank you all.
Thank you. And lastly, our report from the Executive Committee.
Hey, all, just a few things for me. Kind of as we begin to wrap up this semester and this term, I just kind of started brainstorming ideas for how we can improve for next year's group and also next year's pro temp. So one thing that's been on my mind is how can we improve office hour submissions. There's been a couple ideas that have come up, one being that there'd be a book that'd be passed around during the Senate meeting instead of a form online. But if there's anything that you think about, whether it be office hours or not, please let me know because I'd love to leave next year's group with some stuff to improve upon. Another thing is we're going to do the weekly dining office hour sign-ups. So if any of you are interested. Yes. Madeline was.
Ryan.
Ryan?
Can Senator Rudolph and I do Thursday 11?
Yeah. Ashley?
Wednesday at 8 a.m.
Okay.
Oh, for me and Nick.
Oh, okay. So that's 7.
We have one more spot.
Anybody trying to go by themselves or hop in? Awesome. Last thing is thank you for everybody that came to the interest meeting tonight. I know it was definitely very helpful for everybody that was there, and also just to hear your perspective on what your year in Senate's been like. So please continue to push as we continue to try to recruit next year's group, encourage them to run and explain them the process. But thank you all.
Thank you, John David. And that concludes our reports from our committees. We will now go into our reports from our liaisons, beginning with Deani and BSU.
Bailey, BSU. Today's GA topic was career readiness and resume building. A lot of people still feel uneasy about their life after graduation, but on the bright side, one BSU member mentioned that they got a job offer at one of Auburn's job fairs. So we got to celebrate that. Students are working on starting a pre-vet organization for people of color, so if you know anyone that would be interested, please spread the word. Also, I worked with our assessment and evaluation committee, and they made like a QR code so I can have a more efficient way of getting feedback. And one of the things that someone said today was that the sea gravel zone lot near the TV production area and the Red Barn has little to no lighting. And they were kind of saying they really don't feel safe when they're walking by themselves, and also because of daylight savings and stuff like that, it's even darker on that lot right now. Upcoming, we have a study night in this room Wednesday 5 to 7, and our transfer committee has a You Got Served dance battle on Thursday if anyone is interested in coming to watch. And that is all from me.
Thank you. Now a report from the ROTC.
Hey y'all, Long, ROTC. Not much to report. Auburn is winning 31-24 at halftime, so a little scared by George
Y'all
Mason
should
making a little
not be
comeback,
checking
but
the game during the middle of this.
I just got an update on my Apple Watch. Sorry, Coleman. So we're looking forward. Not much going on. We have a drill competition on Wednesday, and then we also have CO inspection the Wednesday after that. So just sort of ending up our end of the year celebration, just to have those 2 events left, and then we'll probably be kicking off next semester as well. But that's all I got. Thank you all.
Thank you. And that concludes our reports from our liaisons. We will now go into our current orders of business. Would everyone pull out their computers now? Beginning with PSSB 22110701, Green Space Lighting Project by Senator Seward.
Seward Business asks for approval of the following. The amount of $50,000 to be allocated from the reserve fund to fund the Campus Green Lighting Project. These funds will support the Office of Student Affairs efforts in implementing new electrical upgrades and lighting on the green space.
This is the wrong bill.
Thought so as well.
It's supposed to say it's coming from the safety line item of SGA's budget.
That's what it's supposed to say.
Let me pull it. All right, Ben, I'm going to email this to you. Will you just copy and paste this and put it over the bill? I can plug mine in for right now. Sorry, y'all.
That looks more like it.
There we go.
Okay. Seward Business asks for approval of the following. The amount of $50,000 to be allocated to the initiatives line item of the Student Government Association budget from the reserve fund to fund the Campus Green Lighting Project. These funds will support the Office of Student Affairs' efforts in implementing new electrical upgrades and lighting on the green space. I move to pass this bill as written.
Is there a second? Second. Seeing that this bill has been moved and seconded, is there any debate? Seeing there is no debate, we will move into a vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye and voting yes on the Canvas quiz. All opposed, please say nay and vote no. Aye. Do y'all see the quiz? Yeah, it's live. It looks like the ayes have it and this bill is passed. Next on the current orders, we have PSSR 22110701 by Senator Dodd.
Dodd at large, timely grade implementation for early alert status. I move to pass this resolution as written, whereas while the Student Government Association, SGA of Auburn University acknowledges and appreciates the efforts of faculty to provide grades for students in a timely manner, there is still progress to be made in allowing students an ample amount of time to determine and acknowledge their grade before the week of final exams. And whereas feedback from student discussions during Student Government Association Senate office hours and Auburn Answers submissions have indicated students' frustration from not being able to accurately calculate grade point averages entering the week of final exams due to a lack of completed assignments being graded and placed into Canvas. And
whereas in the Early Alert Grade Survey created by the Student Government Association, feedback about a potential early alert status grade for finals reads, teachers really need to do this because it allows students to be proactive on their situation if they are struggling in a class earlier on compared to after getting your final grade and being in a panic. And whereas in the same survey, out of 107 students who participated, 61.96% of students answered yes to the following question. Have you ever taken a final exam for a course when you were not aware of your current grade prior to taking the exam? And whereas the University of Alabama at Birmingham and Mississippi State University, both of which are peer institutions, have progress grade reporting deadlines for both midterm and final exams that are distributed over 4 dates in their spring and fall semesters to provide an ample amount of time for students to take the steps needed to thrive in their academics. And whereas students desire feedback on their grades in advance of finals, especially first-year students who are adjusting to the college environment so that they can know their academic standing before going into their final examinations for the semester, and whereas students are more inclined to utilize the academic resources Auburn provides, such as tutoring, coaching services, and office hours, if they are aware of their academic standing in a timely manner. And whereas having a policy on timely grade implementation for students would foster better state of mental health amongst students leading up to the final exam, and that students have reported a large amount of stress and anxiety stemming from not knowing their academic standing going into the final exam period. And whereas Hanover Research, an independent market research firm, discloses that overwhelmingly most institutions use early alert systems in order to improve retention and graduation rates, demonstrating that there is a positive correlation on student retention and graduation rates from providing early alert grades for students. And whereas early alert banner grades are defined as, in order to facilitate the adjustment of students to the rigors of Auburn University coursework, faculty teaching core courses must record in banner an early alert grade for all students enrolled in those classes 1 week prior to the midterm. This process will permit students to seek tutoring or take other action before the midterm drop deadline, thus receiving a notification when early alert banner grades are posted effectively and efficiently informs students of their academic standing. And whereas previous CAP Director of IT Troy Hahn states that Auburn wanted a modern system, something intuitive that would allow students to easily navigate through the courses. When describing Auburn choosing Canvas as its primary academic portal, in order to fully utilize this platform, professors must enter in assignment grades so that they can easily navigate their courses and uphold this standard. And therefore, let it be resolved that the SGA Student Senate of Auburn University urges that academic policy require professors to enter assignment grades into Canvas regardless of whether or not the professor utilizes Canvas as their main platform of academic teaching. And therefore, let it be further resolved that the SGA Student Senate of Auburn University asks that academic policy require all grades be posted into Canvas at least 1 week prior to the final exam for every course. And therefore, let it be further resolved that the standard for midterm early alert grades continue as the precedent for final grades at Auburn University and be expanded to include all courses rather than only core courses as stipulated by the current policy.
I move to pass this resolution.
I move to pass this resolution as written.
Is there a second? Seeing it is moved and seconded to adopt the resolution just as read, is there any debate? You say point of inquiry. Yes. Then you can ask. Stand up. This is our first resolution. You gotta.
What are you planning to do after this, if this is passed? Are you planning to do a meeting with the people that receive seat on this? What is your action plan?
Yes, absolutely. I would like to meet with whoever in the provost office is most accountable for this. I would like to meet with them and see their thoughts on it, what they think about it, and try and put this into action as much as possible. But that's definitely the plan for right now.
Is there any further debate? Seward?
I move to make an amendment on this bill.
Yes.
To strike "and" from the last whereas sentence.
Okay, it is moved to strike the semicolon "and" in the final whereas statement. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any debate? Seeing none, we'll go into a vote. All in favor, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay. Aye. All opposed, please say nay. All right, this amendment is passed. All right, is there any further debate on the bill? Do you have any opinions you want to share on the bill? Do you agree with it? Do you not agree with it? Stand up. Say Dickinson business and state your opinion. That's the point of a resolution. It's our first one.
I agree with it. Good job, Natalie.
Thank you. Is there any further debate on this resolution?
Is it debate or we just different thoughts?
Both.
Sadie Business, do you think bringing this before the faculty, I think it said there was 100 responses, do you think that's enough sample size to kind of have a strong enough push, or should we have waited maybe to get the 1,000%?
So this survey was pushed really hard last term, and as much as we did try, it did only reach 107 people, and so we thought that putting in that number, because they would probably ask how many students would take it, still the 61.96% of 107 students is still a lot who haven't, don't know their final exam grade total. And so I do think while it is a small number and it can make for a weaker argument, I do think 107 students is still a lot when speaking in that percentage of who still don't know their final grade. Surveys are hard, just you can get as many people to take them as you can.
Is there any further debate? Seeing none, we'll go into a vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye and voting yes. All opposed, please say nay and vote no. It looks like the ayes have it, and this resolution is passed. It's our first one of the year. All right, next we have PSSR 22110702 by Senator Brown and Senator Counts.
Brown Business.
Counts Engineering.
I move to pass this resolution as written. Waterline construction in between Ladder Parking Lot and Wiggins Hall. Whereas the Harbert College of Business and the Samuel Ginn College of Engineering are the two largest colleges at Auburn University, containing 6,734 business students and 6,218 engineering students. And whereas business and engineering students' classes are primarily concentrated in their respective colleges' buildings, which are further away from the majority of dining options on Central Campus. And whereas student feedback obtained during Senate office hours supports that students have the desire to have a food truck be placed in closer proximity to these colleges in order to allow for more convenient dining options for these students. Therefore, let it be resolved that we, the Auburn University Student Senate, recommend that the Auburn University Facilities Department initiate the construction of a water line in between Ladder Parking Lot and Wiggins Hall so that a food truck location may be added to this location for the purpose of providing a more convenient dining location for students of the College of Business and College of Engineering. CC Glenn Loveridge, Director of Campus Dining, William Walker, Assistant Director of Campus Dining, Joe Hanna, Interim Dean of the Harbert College of Business, Jeff Long, Assistant Dean of the Harbert College of Business, John Hornbuckle, Chief Information Officer of the Harbert College of Business, Benjamin Burmester, University and Transportation Site Engineer, Jeffrey Fergus, Associate Dean for Undergraduate Studies and Program Assessment, Samuel Ginn College of Engineering. I move to pass this resolution as written.
Is there a second? Second. It has been moved and seconded to adopt the bill just as read. Is there any debate?
Can I debate? Am I allowed? Just to recap on this, and to speak the authority that we have in asking for this is that being a senator for the past 2 years, this is the most frequent feedback that we've gotten, just business students saying that they want more dining options. And like we said last week, Starbucks and Tiger Bread Company more grab and goes, and so this would give the opportunity to bring a food truck closer to engineering and business with actual meals and actual food. And students a lot of times have 15 minutes in between classes, and so they don't have time to go to the other food trucks.
Is there any further debate? Seeing none, we'll move into a vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye and voting yes. All opposed, please say nay and vote no.
Aye.
It seems that the ayes have it and this bill is adopted. That concludes our current orders for tonight. We will now go into our future orders, beginning with PSSB 22-103101 by Senator Jones and Senator Counts. PSSR, sorry. Oh. Sorry. PSSC 22-1111-1401 by Senator Wavera and myself.
Student recognition and appreciation for President Christopher B. Roberts. Whereas Dr. Christopher Roberts joined the Auburn family in the year 1994 as an assistant professor in the Department of Chemical Engineering and has served Auburn University for 28 years with various titles, including Chair of the Department of Chemical Engineering, Interim Vice President for Development, and Interim President for the Auburn Foundation. And whereas Dr. Christopher Roberts has most recently served as the Dean of the Samuel Jenn College of Engineering, a role in which he has served since 2012, and whereas during his career in the Samuel Jenn College of Engineering, President Roberts was able to provide engineering students with the best student-centered experience in the country, established the Samuel Jenn College of Engineering as a national leader in research and outreach that work to improve the quality of life and foster economic growth, and create a community of faculty, staff, and students that exemplify excellence, and innovation. And whereas under Dr. Roberts' leadership as Dean, over $357 million in donations to the Samuel Jenn College of Engineering were raised. Over $110 million in infrastructure projects were completed to foster the strength of the Samuel Jenn College of Engineering. And whereas Dr. Christopher Roberts was selected as the 21st president of Auburn University in February of 2022 after a 9-month national search, and whereas President Roberts has stated that as president he is, quote, committed to instilling a campus climate in which all are welcomed, valued, respected, and engaged, end quote. Whereas President Roberts has already made great strides in his first few months as president to prioritize the student experience and create a campus climate in which all are welcomed, valued, respected, and engaged through his efforts to actively communicate and foster relationships with all students on campus. Therefore, let it be known that we, the Auburn University Student Senate, commend President Christopher Roberts for his contributions he has already made to Auburn University while serving in the College of Engineering, and look forward to all he will accomplish during his time as president of Auburn University. CC, Auburn University President, Dr. Christopher B. Roberts.
Are there any questions on this future order? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. Thank you, Ethan. Now we have PSSR 22-11-1402. It's misnumbered.
Jones at large. Auburn University Student Study Spaces. Whereas Auburn University has quality facilities for students to enhance their academic experience, such as the Ralph Brown Drawing Library, Brown Copel Engineering Student Achievement Center, Horton Hargrave Hall, and the academic classroom and laboratory complex. And whereas peer and aspirant institutions such as the University of Tennessee and the University of Virginia have elevated their study environment experience to be competitive with our own by implementing an interactive map and website that displays all of their study locations. And whereas Auburn University seeks to meet and exceed the academic learning experience for students to promote academic success amongst students in comparison to aforementioned institutions. And whereas, according to a baseline survey conducted in 2021 from the Student Government Association, out of 252 total respondents, 77.83% of students noted that they primarily study in popular locations on campus, such as the Ralph Brown Drawing Library, the Melton Student Center, and the Mel Street Classroom Building. And whereas the concentration of students using these buildings for studying prohibits students from utilizing all of the facilities Auburn University has to offer to its students. And whereas a large majority of the student body is unaware of the wide range of academic facilities Auburn has to offer that can be utilized for studying on campus, resulting in the high concentration of students studying in the aforementioned buildings. And whereas equipping students with a complete knowledge of available study spaces and improving upon the facilities that already exist will encourage students to spend more time on campus, which will likely result in increased academic success and community and academic circles. And whereas a centralized study space website would equip Auburn students with the knowledge of the available study spaces and allow students to see what each facility offers in their academic learning environment. And whereas by creating more additional spaces in which students can reserve for studying in different facilities across campus will result in the student body spending more time on campus, which will increase the revenue of on-campus amenities and promote academic focus. And whereas giving students access to more amenities within these academic environments will also encourage students to study on campus in comparison to off-campus options. And whereas during conversations with students during Senate office hours, students have expressed a desire to utilize classrooms as study spaces after regular class hours, which likely would increase the amount of study spaces available and promote academic collaboration. Therefore, let it be resolved that we, the Auburn University Student Senate, urge the Office of Informational Technology to address the dire need for improved transparency pertaining to the conversation of reservable study spaces and to take student feedback and opinions into consideration when developing a new system for study spaces. And therefore, be it further resolved that we, the Auburn University Student Senate, support the creation of a centralized study space reservation system that would include all reservable study spaces on campus, as well as unused classrooms during after hours. CC Kevin Watson, Director of Information Technology, Office of Student Affairs. Julie Huff, Assistant Vice President of Strategic Initiatives and Communications, Office of the Provost.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this future order?
So this is asking for like the classrooms in Louder, for instance, or in Mel, whatever.
Yeah.
This is asking for us to have dibs for that.
Yeah, so the goal here would be is that, let's say within Louder, there's classes at 8 a.m. and there's a class at 11. There's nothing in between there, that those buildings or those classrooms would be open for tap access for students during that time. And then also too, as we get this interactive space map, that you'd be able to go in and see, okay, Louder 15 is open from 9 to 10 o'clock. And so my friends and I can go in there and study. And it's also open past class hours, so that night too as well.
Julianne.
Lozano Business. Will this include Sundays and Saturdays? Because I've received feedback that it says after hours, but there's like a hard time finding study spaces on Sundays.
Yeah, so we've had communication with Kevin Watson, who's CC to this, and what has been explained to me is the process of going through and implementing this map and this system across campus is kind of going to be gradual. And so it's going to include some of your bigger buildings first, and then they're going to look into expanding it. And so expanding it, that might be expanding it to Saturdays and Sundays, and that's something that definitely, as the rollout committee works, and Eb can probably speak on this a little bit more, you'll be able to go in on Saturdays and Sundays if that's something that they think is accessible for students.
Ethan.
So the College of Engineering in Brown Copel kind of has their own sort of reservation system already. You're welcome to submit a request to reserve a classroom. Would you try and replace that system completely with this? Because they often ask if organizations that like to meet Brown Copel submit they have a Google form, and then the building manager, Ms. Hardy, will take care of it.
Yeah.
As well as the fact that Brown Copel doesn't really have, they don't have tab access to rooms. So are you in support of putting tab access on almost every classroom on campus, or is that just for existing ones?
So that's something that's not entirely included here, but I can tell you kind of where OIT's at with it. And so going from swipe readers to tap readers was what they considered like an exchange system. It wasn't an expansion system. And so they went everywhere that there was a swipe and inserted a tap. And so the projects in the future that will continue to roll out, and probably will be projects after we're graduated from Auburn, will be tap access more across campus. But it's not necessarily something that will happen soon.
Alex.
Will it be a system like Dibs where you have to reserve it, or is it just going to be like you can walk in, scan your key, you're done and you're in? It's going to be like Dibs with ask for reserve.
Yeah, so it'll be a reservation system, so sort of like Dibs, but it's supposed to encapsulate all of these buildings instead of just the library has its own system and then engineering has its own system. The goal here is as the rollout continues to happen is that it all merges into one system.
This is kind of just a general question. Has there been any discussion on extending RDD hours when they were pre-COVID rather than more than 24 hours?
That's not something we've looked into really here, but that's something definitely that we can, talk to the head of the library about. What are the hours right now?
I'm not sure what the exact hours are, so before COVID.
I think I looked at the hours the other day, and
it's 24 hours.
It's 24 hours for most of the week. So starting on Sunday, that night it becomes 24 hours, and then that Friday it'll close for the weekend.
Yeah.
Or it'll close on Friday and Saturday nights.
Okay.
Sydney.
Point of clarification, that should be open on Sundays, 24 hours until 9 on Fridays, and then Saturdays, I think it's maybe 9 to 6, depending on if we have a home game or stuff like that, and then Sunday as well.
Thank you.
Tylen.
Rudolph Engineering. I want to ask Point of Inquiry, basically, have you got any feedback from any of the building managers, and especially the provost's office, because some colleges really do enjoy having the discretion of their classroom space due to extracurricular activities within student organizations and with the different classroom extracurricular functions for the different colleges. So when you want to implement a streamlined system, how will that interfere with their everyday practice? Because if we're going to pass this and it's going to actually become useful, it must be possible.
Yes.
So what has been their feedback?
Yeah, so the feedback that we have there is from Kevin Watson, who's CC'd to this email, and this is actually already rolling out. This is something that's already happening, and all these building managers are already in the know about it. And so this is basically in support of that, plus some minute details of more amenities and kind of that we would like to see this interactive map and in conversations maybe including engineering into that. But all these building managers that are going to be, once this thing rolls out, included, they've been a part of this process of going from Dibs to this new software since it's really gotten started.
Anyone else have any questions? Sydney.
Kind of going off of Mr. Rudolph's point, are there any buildings that would be excluded from this? So
Yes, there's a lot actually that will be initially excluded. So the main ones from my understanding will be the library, the student center, and then we had talked about HHH and ACLC. So Entirely, I can't tell you exactly which ones they're going to start with. The idea is to start somewhere and expand. So.
Are there any other questions?
Point of inquiry. What is the timeline on this? I
Yeah.
know you mentioned at one point that something would take like so long that it would be after we graduate.
Right.
So.
Yeah, so to be very honest with you, John David Matthews and I met with him at the beginning of the summer, and they were aiming for over Christmas break. Truthfully, we haven't had a ton of communication with them since then, so I'm not sure, you might be able to speak with this, Ev, I'm not sure what their timeline still is.
Yeah, so I haven't had much communication with them either. It's been hard to get in contact with Kevin Watson, but they've put me, I'm on the rollout committee for this now. I'm supposed to hear back from Kevin sometime soon as to when these meetings will start, but once they do, then we'll have a finite answer on that.
Anyone else have any questions on this future order? Francis?
Does this at some point affect Haley Center or no?
I can't promise you that it would or wouldn't. This was a project we had kind of been working on for the past couple of years, and then when we met with Kevin Watson, it was something that the university was simultaneously looking at as well. So, truthfully, I do not know.
Javen?
Justin, engineering. This is more of a question for Ned in terms of rollout, but what's the plan if we are starting off in ACLC, library, and AAA? What's the plan for the rest of the academic buildings? Are we going to keep it as dibs? And are we worried about like confusion that will ensue with students having two different systems?
I couldn't tell you right now because we haven't had a meeting for the rollout committee yet, but once we do, I can definitely let you know.
Also, I've gotten a lot of feedback on divs itself, like within Brown Global and in like library, that it keeps like the website itself keeps crashing.
Right.
And I feel like if it doesn't have the capacity to handle just the library or PK, like how is it going to handle all these buildings?
Yeah, so DIBS was rolled out, if I might be mistaken this, in the early 2000s. It's a very outdated software, and so this is an entirely new software that has went through the bidding process, and then Auburn has chosen this software company to roll it out. So it won't be DIBS, that'll be like encapsulating all these buildings. It'll be a brand new software that students will use.
City.
Williams and Sciences, if you don't know the answer to this, that's completely fine. I know it's more of a down the line issue, but I know that some students complain about only being able to have like 2 reservations at a time. So would this system still have that rule, or since essentially there will be more spaces to reserve, you could have more than 2 reservations active at a time, something on different days, something like that?
Right, so this was something that was included in our brief that we presented to OIT, we termed it unlimited reservations with more repercussions for not showing up for them. It's something that's not included here because in conversations with him, it was something that he wanted to work on further down the road. This is more of the now of what's happening, but yes, it's something we've definitely thought about. So.
So I think the concern among the engineering students is that Brown Global, the study rooms like fill up super fast. So with this software that covers all of the buildings, are other students from other colleges going to be able to reserve bar rooms? Because right now you would have to like book rooms like weeks in advance to for sure get a good spot.
Right.
So we were just a little concerned that if other college students start coming to BK to start studying, the engineering students won't be able to reserve our rooms.
Right. Well, I would say is the first thing is as of right now, when this program rolls out, to my knowledge, since y'all don't have tap readers, you won't be included. And so that's not a problem that we'll face right now. It's definitely something that I can relay to Kevin as far as like this is I guess something that engineering students are afraid of happening down the road if engineering and Brown Copel specifically were to be included on it. But I can't precisely say, hey, like I know that a business student can't reserve a room in Brown Copel. And I'm not sure how it exists right now as if it is only engineering students. And so I can ask if that's something that can be maintained on this new software. But like I said, like when this program rolls out, engineering and Brown Coat will specifically won't be in on it.
We're off engineering. What percentage of classrooms right now do have cat entry?
I couldn't tell you. I mean, that would encapsulate all of campus, and that's a large number of classrooms. It would depend on how many buildings have tap readers and which you consider classrooms. There's a lot to take into consideration there as far as how many have tap
Would they be
readers.
involved in deciding basically what they consider what, like, prime example, let's say a space like has multi-function.
What do you mean?
Like there was some classrooms I know like within our college that like they can be one thing and then use this another based like the end of the, like what time of day it is, or even like in Haley, so to speak. I don't know how much they do that now, but like I know like back in the day they used to like change up how classes were based on the amount of people in the class.
Right.
And I think even in the male classroom building, like there's a divider in the middle of the room that can be moved. How would that be? How would that work? Because if the one means you have a classroom to fit 60, but 30 minutes later it fits 30. One might be booked instead of the other. I just don't see how the interface is going to happen.
So, I mean, with that, I would say that it would be up to OIT to determine that. That's something that I personally can't go up and say, okay, like this half of that male classroom building is going to be reserved and this half isn't. But it will definitely be up to how they want to set up their technology. And I think that'd be a great question, like I said, to ask OIT. But it's definitely not a part of our ask here.
Are there any further questions? Seeing none, that is a wait, what?
So thank you all for asking those.
Oh, yeah,
good
thank you all.
questions.
Seeing none, that will be at the conclusion of our future orders. Yeah, that was great, y'all. Thank y'all so much. We'll now go into my announcements. I don't have a ton for y'all tonight, but I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who attended our open house tonight. I was really appreciative and excited about how well it went. I think we had a really great turnout. And to all the senators, please continue to be encouraging your constituents to sign up to run. That link is aub.ie/campaign registration. And we really don't want to have any appointments next term, so it's going to be up to all of us if we're going to be able to fill all those seats. Next, tomorrow is the Alabama midterm election, and so during this election, you'll be able to vote for governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, one Senate seat, your House of Representatives member, and other small offices. There's also 10 amendments on the ballot for Alabama to go into the Constitution, including a NIAS law. So please be sure to make your way to the ballot box tomorrow, be informed on what you're voting for, and really read up on these constitutional amendments and about all of the people who you're going to vote for. These are very important midterm elections, as y'all know, are very, very important in our state and federal government, so it's really important for y'all to go out and vote tomorrow. And lastly, Molly Orr, who could not be here tonight, is being honored tomorrow at the women's basketball game, which starts at 7 p.m. I would love it if a lot of y'all were able to go. I hate that she's not here. So I would really strongly urge if you can go and support her in the women's basketball team. I think that would be a really great way to just show that we support her and also that we support women's basketball. 7. 7's what's on the calendar. So that's kind of all that I have right now, but I wanted to open up the floor and ask if y'all had any questions about anything going on with campaign registration or about Robert's rules in terms of debate, just because this is our first resolutions are kind of starting to go through. I just kind of want to open the floor and see if y'all had any questions. Mm-hmm.
Not a question, but like when you're talking to people about like campaign registration, yes, of course, like plug Senate, yeah, we're the best we can do, but also like plug schools council, because I feel like I know I've seen it in human sciences. So many people like, oh my gosh, like everyone wants to be Sydney. I guess everybody wants to be a senator. But like also schools council does a lot too, and just is not very different, but this is different than what we do. But I feel like Senate is more out there. So just like remind them about schools council too. So if that means talking to your individual schools council officers and kind of getting a feel for what they do, so you're prepared to talk about it, like talk about that too, because we don't want a bunch of people running for Senate and then nobody running for schools council. So.
Thank you, Sydney. Yeah, that's huge. I feel like we've harped on to what schools council does enough over the course of this year, but I can send that out to y'all a little bit later just so you can be able to talk to all the students in your college about those positions during your office hours. But those are really, really important. President, vice president, and then the senators. So we want to fill all of them. So yeah, I think that is all for me at this time, but keep up the great work. Remember to be safe, be smart, and be kind to everyone. You're dismissed.